Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley. After 7 years of Dark Lord's cursed objects and the Dursleys' spare bedroom, Harry Potter married Ginny Weasley, two people who spent their teenage years casting hexes first and asking questions later, somehow building a stable household. Translation, chaos married chaos, and it worked. Together they had 3 children, James Sirius, named after Harry's father and godfather, basically guaranteeing double the troublemaking genes. Albus Severus, honoring 2 Hogwarts headmasters, one beloved and one who built his entire personality around secrets, and Lily Luna, named after Harry's mother and their close friend Luna Lovegood. Through this marriage, Harry officially became a Weasley, son-in-law to Arthur and Molly, brother to every redhead in the family. The kid who grew up under the stairs finally had a Christmas table that needed extensions. Fun fact, Harry became godfather to Teddy Lupin, son of Remus and Tonks. Teddy visited so often he was practically a 4th child. Harry made sure he had what Harry never did, an adult who actually wanted him around. Harry even reconnected with Dudley Dursley. Their families meet occasionally so the kids can hang out. Awkward, deeply British, but real. After everything, Harry finally had someone to come home to, and Ginny made sure that home was never quiet. So yeah, the boy who lived finally got a family. Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. Ron and Hermione spent 7 years arguing about homework, house elves, and each other's life choices before finally admitting what everyone else already knew. 7 years of bickering that turned into something unbreakable. Translation, the longest accidental engagement in magical Britain. They married and had 2 children, Rose Granger Weasley, and yes, the hyphenated surname tells you exactly who won that negotiation, and their son Hugo. Here's the thing about Ron and Hermione, the arguing never stopped. They kept up the habit of affectionate bickering well into married life. Fun fact, they even planned to renew their wedding vows. They balance each other out. Hermione has structure, ambition, and a terrifying ability to be right about everything. Ron has warmth, humor, and here's the part people miss, genuine emotional intelligence. Hermione rose to Minister for Magic. Ron became an Auror alongside Harry, helped reform the department for 2 years, then left to help George run Weasley's Wizard Wheezies. Apparently, fighting dark wizards was less appealing than selling puking pasties. Honestly, fair. Quick note, their children grew up alongside the Potter kids. Rose and Albus started Hogwarts the same year. The Golden Trio's friendship became a genuine family legacy. Sunday dinners probably require multiple tables. Draco Malfoy and Astoria Greengrass. After the war, Draco Malfoy married Astoria Greengrass, the younger sister of his Slytherin classmate Daphne. Astoria rejected pure-blood supremacy, refused to raise their son believing muggles were beneath him. In the Malfoy household, this was basically treason at the dinner table. Lucius and Narcissa were not pleased. Family gatherings at Malfoy Manor were described as tense, which for a house that once hosted Voldemort is saying something. But Draco chose Astoria over his parents' approval, quietly, stubbornly, without making a speech about it. Very un-Malfoy. They had 1 son, Scorpius Hyperion Malfoy. Draco became independently wealthy, spending his time collecting dark artifacts, not using them, and studying alchemical manuscripts. Translation, expensive hobbies and 0 social obligations. Here's the part that hurts. Astoria carried a hereditary blood curse. It was fatal. She died from its effects, leaving Draco to raise Scorpius alone. Draco lost the one person who made him better. Honestly, that's the real Malfoy redemption. He picked the right person and had to let her go anyway. George Weasley and Angelina Johnson. George Weasley married Angelina Johnson, his former Gryffindor Quidditch teammate, and yes, Angelina previously dated Fred. She was his date to the Yule Ball. The Weasley twins shared a Quidditch team, a joke shop, and eventually romantic history with the same person. Only in this family. After the war, George continued running Weasley's Wizard Wheezies. The shop that started as a school prank operation became one of the most successful businesses in Diagon Alley. Ron eventually joined him after 2 years as an Auror. George and Angelina had 2 children, a daughter, Roxanne, and a son they named Fred, because some names just belong in the room, especially at a dinner table that loud. George never fully recovered from losing his twin. The 2 of them shared everything, ideas, sentences, a face, but the shop stayed open. The jokes kept coming. George made a living out of making people laugh. which is exactly what Fred would have wanted. Probably would have demanded royalties, but he'd have approved. Neville Longbottom and Hannah Abbott. Neville Longbottom, the boy who almost got sorted into Hufflepuff and then became the most accidentally dangerous student in Hogwarts history, married Hannah Abbott from Hufflepuff. They lived in a flat above the Leaky Cauldron, which Hannah ran as the new landlady. Neville became professor of herbology at Hogwarts. Translation, one of them runs the most famous pub in magical London. The other teaches at the most famous school. Between them, they know literally everyone. Their relationship is one of the quietest in the post-war world. Two people who went through a war, came out the other side, and built something stable. In canon, they have no confirmed children. Fun fact, Neville personally destroyed Nagini in front of Voldemort with the Sword of Gryffindor. The same Neville who couldn't find his toad in first year. Hannah was one of the first students to join Dumbledore's army. Both of them fought. Both of them survived. Neither needed the spotlight to prove it. Quick note, living above the Leaky Cauldron means their home is literally the gateway between the Muggle and Wizarding worlds. Every Hogwarts family passes through their front door on the way to Diagon Alley. Honestly, that's better real estate than half of London. Percy Weasley and Audrey. Percy Weasley, the brother who chose the ministry over his family, defended Cornelius Fudge, while Voldemort was literally coming back, and didn't apologize until the Battle of Hogwarts was already underway. Somehow got married to a woman named Audrey, and that is genuinely almost everything canon tells us about her. What we do know is this: Percy reconciled with his family during the battle, fighting alongside his brothers in one of the most emotional moments of the entire war. Fred died that same night. Percy carried that weight forward. After the war, he continued at the ministry under Kingsley Shacklebolt, and eventually became head of the Department of Magical Transportation. He previously dated Penelope Clearwater at Hogwarts, but that relationship didn't survive much past school. Audrey came later. They married and had two daughters, Molly, named after Percy's mother, and Lucy. Here's the part nobody expected. Percy spent years being the Weasley who prioritized rules and career over family. He was wrong about the ministry, wrong about Dumbledore, wrong about his own father, and then he came back, admitted it, and built a life that included both. He got the career he wanted and the family he'd pushed away. Quick note, naming his firstborn after his mother is the most Percy Weasley apology of all time. Why say it when you can file it? Luna Lovegood and Rolf Scamander. While Harry, Ron, Ginny, and Hermione were all pairing off with people they'd known since age 11, Luna Lovegood did something different. She waited. She married Rolf Scamander, a fellow naturalist and the grandson of Newt Scamander himself. Their wedding happened considerably later than everyone else's, which honestly makes sense for someone who was never in a rush to be normal. Luna became a famous magizoologist, discovering and classifying new species of magical creatures. She never did find the crumple-horned snorkack, and eventually came to terms with the fact that her father probably made that one up. Growth is possible. Rolf followed in his grandfather's footsteps, becoming the chief consulting magizoologist for the Daily Prophet. Together they spent their lives globe-trotting and researching magical creatures. They had twin sons, Lorcan and Lysander, because even Luna's family tree had to be a little unusual. Fun fact, Luna wore a dress made of rainbows and spangles to her own wedding, topped with a tiara of silver unicorn horns. Rolf's reaction was described as shocked. Rita Skeeter's Daily Prophet column voted it most hideous outfit of the year. Luna probably considered that a compliment. A quick note for Potterheads. Rolf was originally supposed to appear in Deathly Hallows. He was meant to tell the trio the tale of the three brothers, but Rowling changed her mind and gave that role to Xenophilius instead. Honestly, Luna married the one person who matched her energy. That's rarer than a snorkack. Teddy Lupin and Victoire Weasley. Teddy Lupin, son of Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks, and Victoire Weasley, eldest daughter of Bill and Fleur, were caught snogging on platform 9 3/4 in 2017. The witness, James Sirius Potter, who immediately told everyone within earshot. Classic James. Victoire was born on May 2nd, the anniversary of the Battle of Hogwarts. Her name means victory in French. Her parents chose it for exactly that reason. Teddy, a metamorph magus like his mother, grew up without his parents. Both died in the very battle Victoire was named after. Here's what connects them. Both of their fathers were attacked by Fenrir Greyback. Teddy's mother was a metamorph magus. Victoire's mother has Vila blood. Both families carry something extraordinary in their lineage. And Teddy, raised as practically a member of the Potter-Weasley family, fell for someone from within that same circle. By 2014 Quidditch World Cup, Rita Skeeter was already writing about the two of them being inseparable. She noted that they seemed more interested in each other than the match. Bill Weasley eventually had to swap seats with Victoire to make her watch the game. Fun fact, when Lily Potter heard about the snogging, her response was hoping they'd get married so Teddy would officially become part of the family. Harry casually mentioned Teddy already came over for dinner 4 times a week. Translation, the kid was already family. The paperwork was just a formality. James Sirius Potter and Grace Ollivander. James Sirius Potter married Grace Ollivander, the great-granddaughter of the most famous wand maker in Britain. 2 legacies, 1 household, and a Christmas table where someone's always arguing about wand cores. James Sirius met Grace at Hogwarts. He was Gryffindor's golden boy, Quidditch captain, troublemaker, named after 2 marauders and living up to both. Grace was in Ravenclaw, quieter, with her family's silver blue eyes and a talent for wandcraft already showing. They started dating during James's 6th year. By the time he graduated and joined Puddlemere United as a chaser, they were already planning a future. They married around 2027 and settled into a life that balanced his Quidditch fame with her craft. 4 children followed. John came first in 2029, then twins Monty and Mia in 2032, and finally Jude, a daughter, in 2034. Grace continued the Ollivander tradition, crafting wands. James continued the Potter tradition of making headlines. Fun fact, Garrick Ollivander did have a son, according to Pottermore, a great-granddaughter named Grace. Not impossible. Honestly, it's the kind of ending James deserved. Scorpius Malfoy and Rose Granger Weasley. In Cursed Child, yes, Potterheads, deep breaths, it's canon whether we like it or not. Scorpius Malfoy spent 4 years developing the most awkward, most endearing, and most doomed crush on Rose Granger Weasley. A Malfoy falling for a Granger Weasley? Lucius is somewhere having chest pains. It started on the Hogwarts Express. Ron told Rose to beat Scorpius in every test. Hermione told Ron to stop. Ron added that Grandpa Arthur would never forgive her if she married a pureblood, foreshadowing with zero subtlety. Very Ron. Rose was skeptical of Scorpius from the start, partly because of the rumor that he was secretly Voldemort's son. Her response to that rumor, it's probably rubbish. I mean, look, you've got a nose. The Voldemort nose joke lives on in the next generation. Scorpius, meanwhile, was painfully sincere. He told her she smelled like flowers and fresh bread, which earned him the nickname Breadhead. At the end of the play, he finally asked her out. She said no, but with pity, not hatred. Scorpius counted that as progress. Here's the real kicker. In an alternate timeline where Ron married Padma Patil instead of Hermione, Rose didn't exist at all. Scorpius found himself in a world ruled by Voldemort, where he was popular and powerful, and he gave it all up, partly because Rose wasn't in it. Now that you've met the couples, it's time to meet their kids, all future wizards and witches after Harry Potter Explained. That's your next lesson at Stickman Hogwarts. Click now before James Sirius spoils the entire video on platform 9 3/4.